politics, religion.
What a man can be, he must be. This is Abraham Maslow's own summation of his thoughts on the concept of self-actualization, which forms the pinnacle of his famous hierarchy of needs. In the last two segments of Word Smatter, we presented the first four levels of this figurative pyramid, with self-actualization being the fifth. But once again, the first four levels are
1,
physiological,
2,
safety,
3,
love and belonging,
4,
and esteem.
And number 4 is what the ideal adult would have. And that's basically the ability to work in society and to make your life viable and enjoyable and where you feel good about things and about yourself. And that's really the stopping point for the average human being. Number 5 is something that can really only happen with very
self-actualization,
extremely unusual people. Even Maslow said he could only think of a few people who ever reached that level. He thought Abraham Lincoln had.
Just to be clear to our listeners, self-actualization, as Maslow uses the term, refers to achieving one's full potential, or at least working toward that end. But what I want to know, Jan, is what drives people in the first place to climb this hierarchy? There's a Springsteen song called Reason to Believe. In the lyrics, he describes a series of heartbreaking losses, in the verses I mean, and then at the end of each verse comes the refrain, still, at the end of every hard-earned day, people find some reason to believe. Which I love because, let's face it, why do people get up every day and face the same meaningless, monotonous series of events?
Hey, speak for yourself. I love my life.
All right, Myron, good for you. And I love my life too, I suppose, but there are people who live,
lives of quiet desperation.
Well, yeah, that's the cliche. But let me put it this way. I used to date this girl many years ago, and she was this amazingly sweet, beautiful young woman. And she would just let me do whatever I wanted to with her body. And she was a Christian, but she claimed that she had no willpower to resist my advances. And I can guarantee you that it had nothing to do with my seduction skills. It was just the way she was. She just accepted everything and questioned nothing. And looking back, I probably should have married her because she was my exact opposite. But anyway, I would share with her my ambitions to change the world through my artistic expressions. And then I would ask about her ambitions, and she would just look at me blankly and say that she didn't really have any ambitions beyond serving God and enjoying life. And I just found that incredible, that another human being could possess so little drive. But nevertheless, I lost interest, and she eventually married a fat, bald lawyer and had 5 kids and became a stay-at-home mom and a churchgoer and, I assume, a faithful Republican robot. So obviously she had enough get up and go to do all that. But my question to you, Jan, is, part of our ego, our sense of self, is volition.
What does that mean?
Look it up. And whether we set off to climb a mountain or just make it to the bathroom in time, we do so as an act of our will. I think it was Schopenhauer who called our most basic psychological drive the will to life, right? Or survival. And Nietzsche's phrase was the will to power.
Survival is an instinct, okay? Survival is a basic instinct. Nature itself is the will to power. Everything that happens in nature, things either do or do not have enough power to continue. And that includes the things that happen in the universe that have nothing to do with human life or anything like that.
But let's stick with human life for now. Achievement is another aspect of ego that intrigues me, and we'll discuss it in more detail next week. But for now, I wanted to get your take on this. I was raised in fundamentalist evangelicalism, as you know, and I went to Oral Roberts University, and part of the whole experience of going to Oral Roberts University is that for the rest of your life, people are going to look at you funny for one reason or another.
Hey, Greg, people look at you funny regardless.
That's for show.
Anyway, Oral named the school after himself, which I have no problem with, but which a lot of people do. They say it's immodest for a man of God to name a religious institution after himself. It's not humble.
I've never met a truly humble person, and that's okay. People don't need to be humble all the time. Humility is the idea that you are not more worthy than anyone else. But we also know that there's not much motivation to not feeling overly worthy of something. You know, why would I do anything if I didn't feel that I had a higher amount of worthiness to do anything difficult? Why would I aspire to anything if I didn't think that I had a higher worth?
My point exactly. And we'll pick up this discussion of how achievement relates to ego on next week's Word Smatter. Thank you, Jan.
Damn, Greg, you did all the talking in that interview.